Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching Ask BQ on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Hi Navneet, I'm Alex Matthew, and you're watching the last Ask BQ episode, not just of the year, but also of the decade. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you'd like to send us questions, you can send them to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp. You can also call us on 022-4540-4141, or you can mail us on askbq@bloombergquint.com. Just make sure to add the Ask BQ hashtag.
Well, Alex, it could be the last episode of this calendar year. It's going to be a fresh start come tomorrow. Plus, we are working as well. Indian markets are open, so please tune in tomorrow as well. All right, before we get to the individual queries, let's quickly take a look as to what's happening on this last trading day of this calendar year. There is profit booking, which is clearly visible at higher levels. As you can see, we've so far still defended the mark of 12,200. We're trading very close to where the lows of yesterday as well, and Sensex down about 142 points. Pull up the broader markets and check. There is slight outperformance, I believe, today from the broader markets. Mid-cap, small-cap indices have been trading with some bit of gains. But remember, on year-to-date basis, broader markets have underperformed the benchmark indices. In terms of volatility, which has been at levels of about 10 to 11, now, remember, these are the support levels for India Volatility Index. On Friday, it closed at 7-month low. Yesterday, it was up 3 to 4%, and today, it's at about, with gains of about 5%, 11.5 is the level. So it looks like now a volatility index is also bottoming out because it started to inch higher, and come union budget on February 1st. Ahead of that, probably you will see some higher volatility also. In terms of the contributors list, among the Nifty constituents, let's check which are the stocks which are keeping the moves on check. So it's all dominated by biggies actually. Reliance, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, and also HDFC, with some bit of support coming in from Infosys, Axis Bank, and NTPC. All these stocks have been trading with some bit of gains. Very quickly then, just want to highlight few stocks which are buzzing. So DIE and DIE intermediate stocks are up for the second straight day. Some news coming in that prices for H acid as well as vinyl sulfane has been going up. So Bodil Chemical is up for the second straight day. Yesterday, the stock was locked in upper circuit with gains of 20%. Akshar Chemical also up and about, and you're seeing some marginal gains. I think it's off the day's high. That's Kikiri Industries. Some other gainers, Care Ratings has surged 16 to 17% in trade, almost 18% now. It's trading very close to being locked in upper circuit. Apollo Hospitals also seeing gains of 2%, while on the losing side, you've got stocks like Pyramid Enterprises down for the fourth straight session. Bandhan Bank is weak in today's trade, and I think last few days there is some cool off or profit booking which is kicking in for Avenue Supermarts as well. That stock's down about 1.5%, Alex.
All right, that's how the markets look on the last trading day of the year. Let's get our two experts in for the day. We've got Sameer Kalra of Target Investing and Manish Hathiramani of Deen Dayal Investments. They're both here to answer all of your questions. I'm going to start by talking about the technical picks. In fact, why don't I ask Manish to take you through them? Manish, there are 3 picks that you've sent us. Why don't you tell us about them?
Good afternoon to you, to all our viewers. I sincerely hope all of us have a good new year, happy trading, happy investing. I am working with one solitary sell with 2 buy calls for today. The solitary sell is on a Reliance, which is for a target of 1500, stop loss of 1550. The support of 1550 was broken on the back of good volumes, and with a good risk to reward, we can attempt a short. The buy call is on Axis Bank, which is for a target of 790, stop losses of 730. 763.75 was the intermediate high which was made by this stock. We have triggered that today, and this makes it a good candidate for a new high. And the last buy call is on Bajaj Finance, which is for a target of 4305, stop loss 4210. After a brief pause of a couple of days, the stock has resumed its uptrend.
Okay, so those are some technical calls coming in from Manish. Let's get going and start addressing viewer queries then. And this one comes from Pravandan Chan, who writes to us on email. He wants a both technical and funda view on something like Colgate, and he wants to know if he can look to enter the stock at current levels. Sameer, let me come to you, and wishing you a very, very happy new year. Would you advise someone to buy Colgate? I think it is underperformed at least the other players this year.
So I think Colgate, you take any time frame, and it has given you, on a total return, if you include the dividends, it has given you way more than HUL or other companies.
Over it?
Yeah, over even a 5-year or 10-year or 20-year. And even if you see the numbers, the stability is much more resilient over there as compared to others. So I think Colgate can be a best consumer staple SIP route where you can pick it up in monthly or quarterly SIPs rather than focusing whether it's performed this year or another. I think it's a better place to be in as compared to others.
Manish, very quickly then on the charts, would you advise someone to buy Colgate at current levels?
Well, since we always work with both a target and a stop loss, he can enter the trade now. We can keep a stop loss of about 1430 and we can expect about 1680 to 1700 in the short to medium term.
Okay, the next question is also a mail query. Narendra has written us a mail. He's looking to find out between Deepak Nitrate and Navin Fluorine, which is the better bet with a 5-year view. Samir, this one's for you.
So I think Deepak Nitrite will be a better bet. Given one reason, they have a subsidiary called Deepak Phenol. So they have set up a phenol and an acetone factory in this year itself, and it's commercialized this year itself. And that's almost on a 75-80% kind of a capacity utilization going on. So right now it comes in the consolidated numbers, and maybe in future you can see it separately listed. And the balance sheet is much more stronger out here, and I think this can be the future where
year-to-date gains, I mean, a year gains of 69%, potential to grow significantly from here as well?
Yeah, but I'll bet it on a SIP route.
Sure.
I'll not anticipate the same kind of returns it'll give next year.
Sure.
Okay, the next query is from Premi Sureng, who writes to us on email. He is holding 5,000 shares of Indian Hotels since last 5 years. We don't know his entry level at least, but he wants to know whether he should exit and shift to HDFC Bank or Aarti Industries. Samir, over to you.
So I think you can keep, since you've held on to 5 years, and now the management has changed in last year, and their vision is also much more clearer, and the restructuring is happening. I think next 12 to 18 months there might be a more value creation, and the industry has seen less of supply and more of demand. That's why the room rates have been able to stabilize and grow to a certain extent. So I think hold on. Now it's about only patience. If you show that next 18 to 24 months, you will be rewarded for that.
Well, not the best investment to have been made in 2014, Bosch, but obviously a lot has happened in the last couple of years, which has made it a not so good investment. But we've got Monica, who's bought 25 shares, which is a significant amount because of the ticket size of each share of Bosch. She wants to know whether she should exit, which she would be doing, I would think, at a loss, or should she hold on with a 12 to 18 month horizon?
See, for entering auto companies right now, you need to have a capacity of at least 24-36 months. Whether that return of growth comes back or not, that's very hard. So I think book a loss for right now. Let it be much more clearer in terms of growth in future, and then you can re-enter at maybe a higher price, but it'll be at least you're sure that that's a fundamental bottom.
And you're
for
protecting your capital at this stage.
Yeah, that's where it becomes.
Okay, in the meanwhile, would you say she should shift to something else?
So in meanwhile, she can shift to a HDFC Limited maybe, or a HDFC or a Axis Bank, because financials are much more sustainable even in 2020 where I see them. So it's better to protect your capital at that point of time.
Okay, let's quickly pull up Cipla and check where that's trading. Samir, I come back to you. Sunil writes to us, and he's been holding 2,000 shares of Cipla for last 2 years, and his entry level is 550. So of course he's losing money here. He wants to know if he should exit and switch to Aarti Industries.
So I think switching to Aarti Industries, obviously, because looking at the performance and the fundamentals, it's a better place to be in. But since Cipla, I think it's better to switch to Lupin and Sun Pharma, because over there the balance sheets are much more stronger, and the performance-wise, fundamentally, I think next 3 to 4 quarters you might see certain stabilization in cash flows as well.
Okay, I think we've kept Manish waiting for quite a while. Manish, we've got a couple of, or rather 4 or 5 stocks to talk about, and you can pick which one you want to talk about. We've got HDFC, AMC, IndusInd Bank, Soba, and Carborundum. And the question is, and I don't know what level Ananta has gotten in at, but I think he's losing ground in these stocks. So he wants to know in which of these should he consider averaging?
Well, I would certainly go with IndusInd Bank because it's quite solid. If you look at the movement over the last 3 to 4 months, it's been good. We have very good volumes as well in terms of backing up the stock. Overall, I feel we can go to the levels of about 1650 to 1700, and a stop loss can be kept below the levels of 1350.
Okay, that's about IndusInd Bank. Let me take a query on YouTube, and this one's coming in from a handle called Boss. ICICI Prudential, he's bought at levels of 472. Let's just pull up the stock price. He's suggesting the stock's been going down. So his entry level is 472. He's still in the money. He's asking if we should look to book profits. Manish, I come back to you. How are the charts of ICICI Prudential looking like? If somebody is entered at levels of 472, what should you advise them to do?
Well, I would want them to stop loss it for the time being because we have kind of got into an intermediate downtrend. The trend really gets positive only above the levels of 510.
Giridhar Bhatt has got a question on Reliance Industries. First of all, he says, Happy New Year to you, Navneet, and of course to me. Thank you so much, Giridhar, for your wishes. He says, and I'm reading this out, there were talks of RIL selling some of its refining assets to Saudi Aramco and deleveraging its balance sheet. Stock price is positively factored in this, and now there are rumors that the government is throwing a spanner in the works. If this doesn't work out, what will be the long-term and the short-term prospects or impacts for Reliance Industries, and what would your advice be, sir?
So I think Reliance Industries this year, 12 months, next 12 months are very critical. And again, the theme is deleveraging at all levels. I don't see only at the top level. I see deleveraging at all levels, which is slowly taking place. And I would do a SIP if I really have to do it right now and take a bet on that, rather than doing a one-shot investment and then taking a point of view. Because when you're doing such kind of critical deals, and RIL deals are much more critical to country as a whole, so I think there will be government interventions as well, because assets are being sold to a foreign company. So I think these kind of things will happen. But if you keep a SIP, whether it plays out against RIL or for RIL, that's very hard to call on. But as a company, I think the cash flows will improve from next year onwards.
Okay, that's the view on the biggie Reliance Industries. Let's take a next query from Divid Dalmia, who wants a fundamental view on JK Lakshmi Cement. Samir, start of the year, a lot of buy calls, positive views were coming in for a lot of these cement companies. But overall, I don't think they've done too much. There was pressure in terms of pricing. Also, the volume growth did not pan out to be what most of the analysts were factoring in. But I remember your favorite has been Shree Cement. But JK Lakshmi Cement, in that mid-cap cement companies, has managed to perform. Would you advise someone to buy this at current levels?
So I think certain particular companies have performed well, and that has responded in the stock prices. But as a whole, cement industries, I don't even see 2020 playing favorably for all of them, because capacity additions are happening to a certain extent, but the volume offtake is really not there in the system at a national level. So I would watch carefully on the quarterly numbers, and then if the whole system picks up, then I'll enter it. Otherwise, I'll still avoid as of.
So you're saying no for JK Lakshmi as well?
Okay. Right now, no for a cement industry.
All right, Manish, the next one's for you. MGL, Mahanagar Gas, bought at levels of 900 for the long term. Question is, Jigar is asking, should he book profits at this stage?
No, I would continue holding this particular stock because you're kind of moving from strength to strength with also upgraded stroke trailing stop losses. A stop loss can be now placed at about 1030, and he can continue holding for the next level, which should be around 1155.
Okay, and remember, as a theme, gas distribution companies, they've performed well this year. Be it Mahanagar Gas, of course, has been a laggard because of that overhang of BG Asia selling stake. As you can see, it picked up momentum from August, but on YTD basis, if you look at the returns of IGL or for that matter, Gujarat Gas, they've outperformed. They've given you returns of somewhere between 50 to 60%. There you go, IGL up 60%. So next query, Samir, is on Gujarat Gas. Akshay Mittal's bought this one at levels of 231. He wants to know what should be his strategy now to make money, and he's willing to hold on for the next 1 year. He's asking if this is the right time to also add more.
So I think you can add on the SIP route, because Gujarat Gas, if you see, the Morbi decision really played in favor of them. and this will be there in the numbers on, let's say, in the next 3 quarters. That's as same as your holding horizon. So I think it's a better entry point, and you can add it in a SIP, but I will still favor a IGL over a Gujarat Gas on a hold basis.
All right, let's pull up City Union Bank. We've got a question on YouTube. We've got a handle name of electronic videos at spot at levels of 199 in the money right now. So 234 is the current market price. Question is, should you book profit or should you add more at this stage? And would you please, Manish, give a target also?
Well, he can actually add more if he wants, because we've got a fresh entry at levels of about 225. The total duration, the total stock can be kept a stop loss of about 215, and he can continue holding this for about 248.
Okay, Manish, I come back to you for Marico. A handle named Parents Forever is bought at levels of 372. Wants to know if he should look to book losses or wait, whether there can be recovery from current levels. What would you advise him to do?
Well, I would still say book losses, simply because we are in an intermediate downtrend. And what we have been seeing over the last 3 or 4 days is more like a bear pullback. He can use this to actually exit the stock, because if we turn from here, we can go down to levels of about 320. However, if it does turn positive, we can always look at rebuying that stock, because thereafter you can start moving to maybe 365, 370.
All right, the question from Vishal Singh is, what is the fundamental view on NBCC, which has, gotten eroded significantly since mid-2019, currently trading just about that 35 mark, which it has stayed at for a while. So the question is, based on the valuations as they stand right now, would you get in for the long term?
So again, company is good, balance sheets are good, the order execution has faced a lot of issues from legal end, and let's say now the new CMD has taken over. And I think the execution will return back, but I will still be better off after the quarterly results show me the execution and the profitability change, because there is 12 months onwards, I think it'll do better off, but I rather be a quarter late than a quarter early.
Okay, execution has been a problem for this company. Pull up Grasim. Manish, one of our viewer is making losses into Grasim. I don't have the entry level, but what are the charts suggesting? Would you advise him to book losses, or do you foresee any recovery on the charts?
No, we can exit this stock because now it has gone sideways with a negative bias. The sideways zone really breaks around these levels of about 740. We are right now at about 735. Keep a stop loss of 730.
All right, Anand Kadam wants to know about whether there's a possibility of a revival in the graphite industry in the coming year, as the steel sector is booming. This is his words, not mine. How do you see it?
So first of all, I don't see steel sector booming.
Which is why I said it's,
because if you see the volumes are still tapering off. The stock prices might have come off from the lows, given the anticipation, but I think now that SR Steel is done with, now the capacity will come on board. So again, it will put domestic pressures to the whole demand end and supply end. But graphite being what it is, I think now when US and China are coming off to a better terms, if there's a risk of these Chinese capacities coming on board, and if there is any next 12 months or 18 months where they come back online, then there's a very big down risk to graphite and HEG, which I would not like to play as an investor.
Fair enough.
Okay, let's pull up Wellspin India. Ankur Bhanot writes to us, and he wants a fundamental view on the stock. Samir, he's been holding 700 shares at 55. The stock's not done well this year. It's down about 19 to 20%. What would your advice be to him?
So Wellspin, again, the order execution, and then again the diversification of the contract manufacturing and the EPC led. So the balance sheet is very heavily debted. So that's always the risk on the stock price, and it's better to exit in the loss as well, rather than going deeper in loss. So I think that's a big risk for them as a whole group as well.
All right, let's pull up Rallis India. We've got a question from Shankar Mahadev. He's bought 1,000 shares of Rallis India at 250 for the long term. Let's pull up the chart and see what it's currently trading. 169 or thereabouts. He's asking fundamentally, should he average at this level?
So you shouldn't average at this level any chemical companies. You can start putting that money in either Biocrop Science or Tata Chemicals, and that's where I see a better return in next 12 months to 18 months.
Any thoughts on the dyes and dyes intermediate companies which have been buzzing?
So nothing. These are always a cyclical companies, and I feel these kind of prices relief are more bounces. It becomes more sustainable when these quarterly numbers show you that happening, because then it's more stickier. What happens again, if you see any commodity companies, they are able to increase prices at some point or the other, but the stickiness only comes out through at least 2 quarters. And I think these valuations are so low right now that even a 20% upside, like what has happened in the last couple of days, really doesn't push the needle that much. So I think it's better for quarterly results to come out and then anticipate the move on from there.
Here's a question you don't hear every day. Anita Jain is asking, out of HDFC Bank, Reliance Industries, Bajaj Finance and ICICI Bank, which should you not buy?
I think HDFC Bank will be a void for me for next 12 months because the change in management and somewhere the retail and SME stress is coming into the bank's books, and the unsecured part lending has really gone up, which is I think way beyond than what even Aditya Puri will be comfortable with. So I think that's where it becomes a 2020 kind of a watchful year for HDFC Bank. So I would not buy that, and rest I can still do it.
Okay, the next query is on ICICI Bank. Manish Raghunathan is asking if the rally in ICICI Bank is still left. He has an exposure at 526. What he wants to know is, should he look to buy more at current levels or he should book profits?
No, we can certainly hold this stock. It's just that I wouldn't recommend buying more because we've had a very sharp run up. If we do end up having some kind of a pullback, maybe closer to the levels of 500, we could look at that option. Otherwise, he can continue holding for higher levels of about 560, 570. We also see the stock heading to 600.
Okay, Marico bought at levels of 372. The question is, we've already done that. Let's talk about then Jindal Steel Hisar crossed 100-day EMA today with good volumes. This is Hari Kiran's question. I'm reading it out. Is it good to hold for the short term? Also, could you provide a view on the long term in connection with the anticipation in global cues? Holding 500 at 71. I'm coming to you on this one, Manish. Bought at levels of 71. How do you see it for the next short term?
Certainly positive. I feel that this stock can move at least another 6 to 7% in the short to medium term.
What about the fundamentals? Because I think that's also a question.
So I think it's too early to anticipate any revival in the fundamentals, though it does well when the fundamentals move in favor. But I still feel these are more technical changes, and especially and liquidity is coming into mid caps. So any kind of let's say a nominal large buying number also, let's say a 15 crore or 20 crore kind of a volume really pushes the prices as well. So wait for the quarterly numbers because you're already on January start. So I think let's see the quarterly numbers and then you can judge it better.
Okay, gentlemen, it's time to hit the rapid fire segment. And before we begin, just a small request to Samir and Manish, please keep your answers short so that we can accommodate a lot more queries. Samir, this one's for you. Any thoughts on Piramal Enterprises?
Stay away, see it next 2 quarters and then take a judgment.
Vincent D'Souza wants to know about Biocon and Hindalco. Do you have a positive view on any?
Biocon, I have a much positive view as compared to Hindalco.
Manish, would you advise averaging India Cements holding at 155?
Yes.
Okay, short answer there. Kalpatru Power, Wizbaz wants to know what the long-term prospects are.
I don't have a positive outlook over there for the next 12 to 18 months because of the receivables issues.
Manish, do you see SPI going below the mark of 300?
That's always a possibility. There could be a short to medium term correction.
Camlin Fine has been hitting upper circuits on a consistent basis. Mayank wants to know about the fundamentals of it. Bought at 52.
So the company has really done well in past 5 years, but I will still wait for next quarter or two to see how they're projecting.
Fair enough.
Samir, views on Timken India?
Positive views, but valuations are too stretched right now. I would have a cool off of 20 to 25% from it.
Manish, Apollo Hospital, would you enter now or wait for a dip?
I would wait for a dip.
Manish, Eicher Motors bought at 16,300. Would you advise booking profits or stay put?
Stay put.
Axis Bank technical view, entry price is 700. View for the next 3 to 4 months, Manish?
I feel about 790 to 800 for starters.
Okay. Manish, would you advise booking profits into Dabur? The entry price is 420.
Continue holding.
Okay, Piramal is the question. Okay, we've actually taken Sagar's questions. I'm going to take Indoco to you. What's the view on Indoco? Would you buy at this level?
No, I wouldn't buy at these levels. Some approvals came in, so I think it's better to not anticipate.
Samir, will ITC bounce back in 2020?
Before budget or after, sell it after budget. Let me be very clear over there.
Averaging India Cements, I think your view on cements was
Done.
no.
Havells, very quickly, would you advise to buy for next 3 years?
No, I would stay away,
Okay.
and at a better valuation, yes.
Hathway Cable?
Hathway Cable, I will totally avoid as well.
Okay, well, we tried and slipped in as many questions as we possibly could, but that's all we have on this edition. I'd like to thank both our experts. Thank you so much, Samir and Manish, for helping our viewers out with all their queries.
Remember, we're just a tweet, post, or a call away, so please keep your queries coming, and we promise to address most of them through our shows. For all our previous episodes, you can visit our YouTube channel or our website, BloombergQuint.com. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.